Welcome to a saying that every geologist has grown up with. If you want to find elephants, explore in elephant country. Is this old adage apocryphal? Is it fact or fiction? I promise by the end of this presentation, you will see this old adage in a totally new light. One of those elephants is the Broken Hill Mine here in Australia, which has been in existence for more than 130 years. The Broken Hill Mine is located in far western New South Wales. The geological map of the Broken Hill region shows why it is so important that we can see the variation in rock type. One can see here just how complex, how complicated the geology can become even at a scale of a few meters. The whole idea of small-scale complexity obscuring large-scale simplicity was brought to the fore by Dr. John F. Dewey. Dr. Dewey is one of the movers and shakers behind the plate tectonics model. Let's have a look at the current and historical exploration at this elephant. Here we get some idea of the soil and rock sampling in the Broken Hill region. Note the scale down in the lower left-hand corner of the map. Here we can see the hundreds, if not thousands, of drill holes put down in that same region. 15,000 square kilometers of intense exploration, and the result is still no new elephants. Observing a detail proximal to the Broken Hill Mine for both drilling and soil rock sampling certainly indicates intense exploration. But wait, there's even more. Let's have a look at the various geophysical surveys at the Broken Hill Mine and the Broken Hill region. There are many types of airborne geophysical surveys carried out by private companies. Then there are also many ground geophysical surveys carried out by private companies. And as well, various airborne geophysical surveys have been carried out by local and federal governments. Currently, there are more than 100 exploration licenses surrounding the Broken Hill Mine. So it is quite possible there are reasons why no new elephants have been found after 130 years of exploration. One of those reasons is that the Broken Hill deposit formed more than 1,800 million years ago. So it is likely that Over such a huge time span, anything that could happen to an ore deposit has happened to the Broken Hill deposit. I believe it is important to focus on the word enigmatic in respect to the Broken Hill deposit for the following reasons. Is the Broken Hill deposit truly enigmatic? Is it mysterious and difficult to understand? Or is it simply puzzling? Quite possibly it is not the enigmatic character of the Broken Hill deposit that is the problem. The real problem may be the way we are attempting to solve it. Consider the following evidence as to why there's only one world-class elephant at the Broken Hill deposit. First and foremost, the Broken Hill deposits formed at high temperatures. A simple question: why so many small Broken Hill type deposits and only one giant? The answer might be as simple as the spatial distribution of heat. However, the current paradigm tells us to follow the rocks, not the heat. However, by following the rocks, you'll note that many of the Broken Hill type deposits are not in lode rocks. And the question that comes to my mind is why? It might help us to find an answer to this question by simplifying the data, which means ignoring everything, all rock types, all structure, except the spatial distribution of the Broken Hill type deposits. By implementing the autoclust algorithm, we can see a pattern evolving in the spatial distribution of the Broken Hill type deposits that is not immediately obvious before clustering. This clustering algorithm reveals the presence of a radial pattern, with 5 of the arms of that pattern pointing directly at the very center where the giant world-class Broken Hill type deposit is present. It is not just the high-temperature Broken Hill type deposits that have a unique relationship, a unique patterning. The medium and lower temperature type deposits around the Broken Hill deposit also are uniquely patterned. The spatial distribution of the lower temperature type deposits will complement the distribution of the higher temperature type deposits. We will look at the spatial distribution of 3 of these lower temperature type deposits: Thackeringia, Mount Robe, and Gold Vein. Thackeringia type deposits. Mount Robe type deposits. gold vein type deposits. The spatial distribution of the giant Broken Hill deposit, which is high temperature, and the lower temperature types outlined above. This is the paleothermal thermometer, which indicates the probable thermal gradient in the Broken Hill region while the Broken Hill type deposits were forming. The hot zone in which the giant Broken Hill deposit is centered is delineated by the lower temperature type deposits. The hot zone. The hot zone and the radial arms. Note the obliqueness of the hot zone with compression in an east-west direction and extension in a north-south direction. This compression took place during the Tabarabaran and Canimbalan orogenies between 385 and 318 million years ago. So what is the likely origin of these radial and concentric patterns? Those radial patterns are a consequence of mantle convection. This is a plan view of Rayleigh-Benard convection at a Rayleigh number considered appropriate for convection in the Earth's mantle. Here we can see that the individual convecting cell can be 3, 4, 5, 6-sided. The ideal would be hexagonal, 6-sided. However, the real world is more like the convection plan we can see here. The circular black areas at the center of the dark gray radial zones are plumes, which are mentioned often in the geological literature. The plume in a cell is where you have the greatest amount of heat present for the greatest length of time. Here is both a plan view and a cross-sectional view of Rayleigh-Benard convection. Presented here is also the equation for the Rayleigh number. This is a dimensionless number that indicates the transition from conduction to convection. This is a cross-sectional view of a Rayleigh-Benard convection cell, showing that the greatest amount of heat is at the center of the cell for the greatest length of time. One can see here that the world-class metal deposits occur in a plume, a thermal convection cell, where the greatest amount of heat is present for the greatest length of time. Evidence will be presented showing that the hot radial patterns have been imprinted into the crust from the underlying mantle. And like paleontology and paleobotany, that is the fossil remains of animals and plants, these are fossil heat patterns or paleothermal patterns. So the reason more elephants have not been found after 130 years of exploration is that the giant Broken Hill deposit is a singular paleothermal center. We have had a look at the spatial evolution of the radial and concentric patterns of Broken Hill. Let's now have a look at the proposed temporal evolution of those patterns. The proposed temporal model is based on the sub-seafloor origin of the Broken Hill deposit proposed by Parr, Stevens, Carr, and Page. A Broken Hill cross-section at 0 million years. At 1 million years. 2 million years. 3 million. And at 4 million years, the ocean floor stratigraphy is at its present-day distortion. Note the location of the giant Broken Hill deposit in its sub-seafloor setting at 4 million years. Note that the giant Broken Hill deposit is located at the very center of a proposed plumelet. The proposed plumelet and the spatial distribution of the high-temperature Broken Hill type deposits. Details showing the high-temperature Broken Hill types and the lower-temperature Thackeringia types in respect to the proposed plumelet. The dying plumelets took place over a period of 6 to 14 million years. There is another critical factor if you want to find elephants. And here's evidence from the Broken Hill deposit and a few other elephants. These are revealed through macro-scale patterns using magnetic data. This is a magnetic map for eastern Australia, with the magnetic highs becoming white and the magnetic lows becoming black. Note that the Broken Hill deposit, along with 2 other elephants, occur on either an arc or an annulus. Research by Grieve and Masitis shows that economic mineral deposits occur along the circumference, the outer edge, of impact craters. It is proposed that the circular features revealed in the magnetic data for eastern Australia are fossil impact sites, along which the world-class, the giant deposits form. Hansen, in 2015, using Venus as an analog, suggested that the Earth's Archean cratons have a meteor impact origin. Following are the contributions for if you want to find elephants, explore in elephant country. I was concerned here with number 6 that the lone bull elephant, existing in the center of 15,000 square kilometers of moose pasture, was a mixed metaphor, but I realized they came from very different countries. Moose pasture, I'm pretty sure, is Canadian, and the lone bull elephant, I think, is very African. I guess if the meme had started in Chile, we would be saying if you want to find a llama, a llama for Spanish-speaking people, if you want to find a llama, look in llama country.